When I was a little girl, Halloween was my favorite holiday. Mom always said eating too many treats before bed would give me bad dreams. She was right. I found myself trapped in a surreal, candy-induced dream. Psst, trick or treat, motherfucker! Welcome to my nightmare. I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me.
Alrighty, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Season 3 of Rainbow Six Siege Women's League, Episode 3, Cthulhu and Pi still on the microphone. Pi, welcome back once again. We had some pretty interesting matchups, some fairly one-sided matchups for the most of it during the previous 2 weeks, but tonight we may be having some few much closer matchups maybe.
Yeah. Sorry, my brain just. I was just so caught up thinking about how close the games are going to be, and I was just like, oh man, there's so much that that could happen that we could talk about. And I was just getting ahead of myself. No, yeah, you could definitely say that again. The past few weeks have been a little bit one-sided, you might call it, but today is definitely not going to be the day for that, especially. Speaking about our first match that's going to be coming up, it is going to be Elevate and Nocturnal today, starting off with a bang. Can't wait to delve into these two teams.
Definitely, yeah. So before we take a deep dive onto all of our matchups for tonight, we'll need to get a few of the formalities out of the way real quick. So we do have the Pink October happening on its final week, as a matter of fact. We are doing a charity donation to the Cancer Council, which is a fantastic cause to really donate to. Donation link you can see right on your screen. That is bit.ly/XPWL Pink October, all in a single word. And it's running from up now till October 31st. So still have a couple more days to go in for a few more donations. But it's a grand time to raise the awareness about that and potentially make somebody's lives a whole lot easier. Well, we also do have a wonderful also MVP prize from one of our wonderful sponsors, that is the ZQ Racing MVP Award. Similar to Season 2, we shall also be giving away one V6 Racing Gaming chair to one of the MVPs that is participating in Season 3 as well. And, for them to find out who will be winning it out, we shall be waiting for the conclusion of the season to really come around. But with that said, let's have a look quickly at the standings that so far have shaped up throughout the first 2 weeks. We have currently Nocturnal and Elevate sitting on the first 2 places, and 71st with Shadownet to lead the charge. Any kind of thoughts on that before we take a deep dive onto the matches?
Yeah, I think it still might be early on in this in the round robin standings at least. We're only in week 3 right now, so only 2 games so far, or only 2 weeks have passed. But already, we can already see quite a big lead between Nocturnal, who is currently leading the charge almost at the front, but it doesn't look like they have a very comfortable lead. So I'm quite curious, speaking of our first match again, about the difference between Nocturnal and Elevate, because this could be the game that really separates first and second out.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we'll get to see them to perform and, battle it out for the first place, at least for this week as well. Now, let's take a closer look at the matchup itself and see how things will really work out for tonight. So it is going to be first up Nocturnal versus Elevate, then off stream we shall be seeing Shadownet play against Barry's Bees, and then the third matchup is 71st to battle it out once again. Well, not once again, but rather we shall be seeing Kingswomen to come around as well to come up and play.
Yeah, both match 1 and match 3 will be streamed, so if you want to catch these games, be sure to stick around, tune into the stream, and stick with us until the end.
Definitely. Now, Nocturnal versus Elevate. Let's talk a little bit more about that one, because we may be having a few of the grudge kind of storylines forming up here, maybe a few friendly matches to be formed. Nocturnal, let's have a look at their roster as well, or rather at both of the rosters, that is, and see what exactly gonna really come around here. For Nocturnal, they most of their players are coming around from as ex-Elevate. So I'm curious if some of the strats, some of the plays from that team, from Season 2 team, will transfer to Nocturnal plays as well.
Yeah, and speaking of which, the Season 3 Elevate also has members from Season 2 Elevate, but it also has a little bit of mixture of members from Season 2 Kingswomen. Both teams who in Season 2 did quite well. So, to have members of those, sort of mishmashed into an already existing really strong team, I'm really excited to see how this is going to face up against a team of, ex-Elevate. So it's almost like having a little bit of a friendly rivalry.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for Elevate, so far they had a pretty good overall start with the run. The only difference is, like we pointed out, is the round differential. Well, let's have a look at the Nocturnal roster that is going to be battling it out against Elevate and see what they might be cooking up here. It's Aussie, Serenity, Crescent, AJ Tiger, Sav, Intrastrus, and Archon that is coming around. I was trying to figure out whether it is intentional or not to not end up accidentally calling out, but yeah.
I think it might be intentional, just a little pun on names, just to... But yeah, no, and out of these members, it is Aussie, Princess, Serenity, and Sav, and Crescent, who was the sub for Elevate in Season 2, those members were part of Elevate. So it is the large majority of ex-Elevate that makes up Nocturnal. So, just because they're a new team, just because, we haven't seen a lot out of them, they already have proved a lot in this tournament. They've already proved that they're, quite capable gunners. They've proved that they're really good at communication. They proved they have what it takes to, get the win.
Yeah. Look, just a few more things for us to tick off the list before we actually get straight to the matchup itself. But I'm quite keen to see what would really happen here. Let's also have a look at the map bans that have came out between these two teams, as I do believe we get something really spicy to be cooked up as well here. So it is going to be Consulate that will be coming around, and Well, from what I remember, this was not one of the rather more preferred maps for Elevate, whereas for Nocturnal, this might be their kind of, I suppose, aces up their sleeve.
Yeah, well, speaking of new maps, we don't really get to see a lot of variation from, the common Oregon clubhouse that has been seen in the entire Women's League. Occasionally we get a cafe here and there, but Consular is like one of those maps that we see almost as common as Coastline, which is maybe once in the entire season that gets streamed. So, I'm sure we can speak for both of us at least. We're both quite excited to get down to the nitty-gritty details of Consulate and also to see how Nocturnal and Elevate will be adapting themselves on this map as well. It's just, as I said at the start of the stream, there's just going to be so much to talk about. And, as the viewers, I hope you guys stay tuned.
Yeah, definitely quite curious. We do have players just about to be calling there we go. As a matter of fact, we are just about to be ready to jump straight into it. Let's have a quick look at the Consulate, though, as Good Luck Have Fun is about to be dropped into the chat, and we just might be able to, well, not might be able to, we'll just start up the match, as it is Elevate versus Nocturnal, as it is going to be, I believe, that is Elevate that is going to be starting things off on attack. Yeah, correct. There we go. And, yeah, by the way, we do have a bit of an announcement that, well, we were calling her Butter, but as it turns out, the request was there to call her as Butter. Or Butter. I guess.
Butter?
Butter. Like, with a B-O.
Oh.
But alas, Elevate banning out, Nocturnal banning out Blackbeard and then Thatcher banned to come out from Elevate. Any kind of thoughts on that, by the way, Pi?
Well, the Thatcher ban definitely isn't something that's surprising or different to any other map ban. I do want to point out quickly the Blackbeard ban. You do see a lot of Blackbeard being banned in, per se ranked, because he's quite a nuisance to deal with, especially when you have, Nomad air jabs set up on the common flank runouts, or even just Claymore set up, and especially on Consulate, you can have him rappelling up on some aggressive windows, such as the CEO double windows. He can cut off a lot of line of sight, and if you have a good shot, you've got that shield right in front of your face, which could tank, those headshot bullets, which is definitely something that could prove to be your advantage, especially if you're starting off on attack, like Elevate.
Yeah. Well, Thatcher is definitely has been seeing more and more of a pick, or rather, pick during the ban phase, as the man can still be after a where it can be quite a dangerous one to really play against, but alas, well, won't be seeing any play from himself. We do get the console office to be brought on board for the matchup, but yeah, first round goes straight into it. It's going to be Nocturnal to kick things off on a defense. And any thoughts about the roster that they've brought in of operators?
Well, it's nothing unusual that we've seen. There's always going to be that Jaeger. There's always going to be possibly, at least one SMG player, if not two, a lot of the times. Sometimes you might see something, spicy, like maybe a Goyo, a Legion, a Mozzie, someone with a C4. But seeing as Valkyrie has been banned out, I think, Nocturnal is going towards more of a comfort pick, because these are operators we have seen them show their competency on. So, probably starting the round off nice and safe, something simple, something very standard is just what they're going for.
Yeah, a few of the setups are there to hold very firmly the top of the exit stairs, as well as that. Maybe a few setups to ensure that whenever there is going to be potentially a push through the spiral stairs, there will be full knowledge about that, thanks to the Melusi's Banshee device. Apart from that, really, it's an attempt to pressure the admin office, and, well, maybe stage, to kick things off, as the drones already give the indication that the coast is clear and Lola is the one to spearhead the push.
Overall, I think this is really well played by Elevate. You know, they recognized a lot of the presence that Nocturnal was putting on the map was more focused on the western side around Yellow Stairs. You know, look at how they've grouped around. There's not a lot of actually admin presence, especially probably Serenity is the closest one with a C4 playing. Possibly, I think there was someone playing on the long desk as well, just to help out Serenity. But overall, you know, this is a really good push by Elevate to determine where the strength of Nocturnal is and to just, you know, completely bypass it.
Yeah, well, so far it seems that it's just currently just a bit of a drain of the utility, although there is a very nice opening from admin straight into the entrance to the meeting room, and Bluey is trying to get things underway to see if maybe she can get some distractions going there. Chloe is also there to potentially go in for a swing, and it's because it's only Serenity that is actually playing around, so she will be having only a single chance to really deny the presence on the balcony with the C4, and that flashbang is starting to fly in. C4 flies through but does not reach Chloe, and that is the C4 all used up.
It is going to be sad though with that Melusi new MP5 that manages to take down Cortari out of all people. You know, that's the Nomad gone, and I don't know how many air jabs that Cortari managed to place up, but hopefully, you know, she got all 3 down. Otherwise, that would have been a huge pick for Sav.
Yeah. Another flashbang did fly in from Chloe to try to maybe force the mute out of the position, because there's still a mute jammer right by that wall. And Blue instead does manage to find the shot onto the Sav, and well, now it's all down to AG Tiger and Aussie Princess to try to hold out the whole onslaught of Elevate.
Budo is going for the bomb defusal plant, and it is going to be Aussie Princess who gets taken down, and now it's all up to Tiger to clutch this in a 1v4. Things aren't really looking good for her. You know, Elevate isn't that high on health, but it is also just one SMG11 player against a four man.
Yeah, 4-player team is certainly going to be able to come out victorious here. It's Chloe to close out the scoreline, and the first round to go into the hands of Elevate pretty quickly in a very dominant manner, although their first game was certainly looking a little bit dicey there, I gotta say.
Yeah, I have a little bit of concern about how Nocturnal picked their setup for that site. I will admit, you know, the overall setup looked great, though there was no outstanding errors that I could have found. But, you know, the placement of the defenders was a little concerning. You know, you have someone locked down on the objective side, and you have no one playing below to protect her like that. Because, you know, from what I could see, it was Bluey who managed to impact open below Serenity, who was holding with a deployable shield. And though they didn't have a lot to take down a deployable shield, they could just go below and shoot her feet. And as soon as they opened up below her, you know, you have to run or die, essentially. And if someone's holding those double windows, if someone's holding anything, any movement that you make is just guaranteed death. So if she was going to hold there, at least maybe make a rotational hold. Maybe she needed to evacuate earlier. Maybe she needed to go on the offense or get some support from her teammates. So it was just a little bit concerning of how stationary all the defenders were.
Yeah, I was partially more so even as well confused about the decision to put Serenity behind that shield, rather say maybe even either Wamai or even a smoke, which is usually found sitting behind that shield. But alas, that was maybe one of the mistakes, but we'll see if maybe this time Nocturnal will be able to make a few changes there, because what's also quite curious to me is the fact that Chloe had all the utility to really lure out the mute from that position as well with the skeleton key. It's just she wasn't really bucking at the right position almost. But well, that whole round is pretty much all gone and all done and dusted. We do have one more round to really go about, and it seems that lineup wise and setups wise, not a whole lot of things really changed. Sav is still playing right at the bottom of the spiral stairs, and well, for Elevate, if they do just about the same thing, they just might be able to come out victorious yet again.
I did notice that Elevate did struggle a little bit in clearing out Serenity, you know, though obviously they did clear her out. There are mute jammers to deny the Habana pellets from opening up. Sure, they can drone her out, but Serenity is holding down that position relatively unchallenged. Again, you know, the only way to really force her out is to either break that deployable shield, in which case it's such an awkward angle to get that shot from, that you would really need a Bluey to maybe rappel up where Chloe is possibly. Or, you know, you need to burn all the ADSs or my charges that are on the walls, holding up the deployable shield. And it's just going to be Sav. Sav getting Bluey again. You know, this is a huge pick, and this is definitely the pick that they're looking for. Chloe retaliates by getting a pick onto Aussie Princess, but the damage has already been done. That's the Sophia being taken down, which means it's going to be unlikely to really push Serenity out because there's no more Sophia impacts from below.
I mean, you still have Chloe once again, who could play from down below, but it's curious the fact that Bluey dies in the very same position where she got killed in the first round as well. The only difference is that Sav still gets to roam around very freely, and I don't think she will be allowed for any longer, as there's going to be a pick, but no, it does pick up a kill into Cortari, so that is a fantastic opening, and well, the roam of Nocturnal player is going to be solidified even more so now.
Don't think she knows that Lola is up the spiral stairs, but you know, those warning shots are going to be coming out. Lola does whiff a little bit, but it is going to be Buddha who manages to, you know, come back and pick off Sav.
Yeah, with Lola opening up as well into Crescent, nearly could have gotten herself a triple kill, but right now, two players are just about to pressure Serenity's position, and with Chloe now finding another one, it's all down to AJ Tiger again, and well, just cannot clutch it out. Chloe is just going absolutely nuts there for her team. And Elevate do claim themselves their second round in a row.
You know, I have my confusions about how Chloe plays Buck, but obviously it's irrelevant because at the end of the day, she's getting the frags, she's winning the rounds, so who am I to say that she's playing Buck wrong? In fact, she could be playing Buck right and I'm playing Buck wrong.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, she's still managing to frag out, she's still managing to assist the team in the push, so for what it's worth, that's
it's
all that really matters,
I
suppose, but still, yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting way that Elevate are not really planning to play the vertical game, where it's pretty much being kind of presented to them on a silver plate, because, well, it's only Sav that is technically rolling, so bring, say, a live drone plus a fragger, clear out the ground floor, pretty much all sorted, because I don't the main issue for Elevate, at least whenever they die to the roam of Sav, seems that it's just the fact that they just do not expect it at all. So whenever there is full-blown information as to general whereabouts of the roamer of Nocturnal, seems that she gets flanked out and pushed out of her comfort zone pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I do want to talk a little bit about the 6th pick that Nocturnal did from Bandit into Vigil. A lot of the times, you know, you will have a gadget denial operator such as the Bandit or the Cade, especially when you're holding that garage site, because those triple garage walls are almost a make or break it. If it gets opened, you know, the chances of you defending that site just becomes so much more harder. If it's closed, then, you know, it's so much more easier. But seeing as, you know, Maverick wasn't banned, I feel like maybe Nocturnal knew that Elevate was going to bring in a Maverick player, and they just went, you know what, we're just not going to deal with the whole thing. We're going to sacrifice one of our gadget deniers, and we're just going to go for full offense roam.
I'm liking what Chloe actually did there with the drone, to at least get some partial understanding as to where could the Vigil be. Throws in the flash grenade, and then, well, throws in the drone as well. Sav is still staying around there, just to see if maybe she could cop a cheeky frag there. Does find one of the bodies, and does at the end connect the kill onto Lola, so without taking any damage, that's a solid beginning there for Nocturnal once again.
Yeah, that was such a strong position that Sav had, and now that she's Vigil, you know, if Elevate want to drone her out, they still don't know if she's up there or if she dropped or wherever she could be.
Yeah, well, there's another engagement that will be pretty quickly shut down. Cortari able to find some revenge there is a good thing, but Serenity already managed to flank around. She knows there's somebody in the Visa, but she's not particularly too curious about finding out just yet about the whereabouts of Nomad. So Cortari will get to live maybe another few more moments before another gunfight. And apart from that, a 4v4 with a minute and 18 seconds to go. Not a whole lot of things, well, has full-on happened, apart from the fact that I'm hearing the Maverick Torch to actually start going for the open. That is Boda.
There is a Maverick trick that you can apply where I believe it only takes 2 and a bit canisters.
For the hatch?
Yes, for the hatch.
Oh, interesting.
It's
I'll need to invest some time into researching that one.
It could be 3 and a bit. I could be wrong.
Because I know very much about the wall trick that has been somewhat recently discovered, but yeah, I didn't know that if there was the hatch trick as well for that very thing.
If you play it right, you should be able to open up 2 hatches and a really small vault hole through a reinforced wall. Is
right.
The best outcome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, well, for now we do see a bit of an engagement between Chloe and I believe that was AJ Tiger, who did end up taking a little bit of a damage there. And with already so much time being drained out, the push needs to happen very quickly. Already it's Chloe going for the opening as well as Cortari. Ready 2v4, make it 1v4 as Chloe just wipes up the whole site. Sorry, not Butter will be going in for the plant, and it's Serenity to actually attempt to maybe deny the plant, but she has quite a few kills to really get, and well, that's about all that she wrote, really. Because I only just noticed that there is actually a full-on notification that when the plant actually goes down in the kill feed.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing, so that must be a relatively new implementation into the spectator features. I do want to say, though, Nocturnal had that in the bag, just from watching it, just like, before obviously the onslaught of kills that happened. I genuinely thought, Nocturnal was definitely going to hold this down. They still had all the smoke canisters up, they still had 4 members up, but Elevate just came in and just fragged out all of them once again. So this is something that Nocturnal cannot afford to lose to. They're not losing in terms of anything but gunplay at this point. Maybe it's a little bit of a communication error to let Elevate slip in like that and be unnoticed. Not sure if they, communicated that they did know Elevate was pushing. But, when you're going up against that and when you're losing in terms of the gun v gun fights, you really want to be looking for maybe some possible refrags, maybe some tighter angle holding, or maybe just more passive angle holding if Elevate is pre-firing them down.
Yeah, that's possibly another thing. Yeah, I'm genuinely curious about that whole setup that they are currently going for, because 90% of the time it seems that Nocturnal are well in control of the pace and they got the whole side on lockdown. But the moment it seems that Chloe and Bluey go for a swing in, or rather the fact that there was a one-person flank from the main stairs, there's Cortari, it seems that just everything kind of fell apart and all of the attention was kind of split onto multiple positions with the fact that they knew that there was a flank going down, there's a flank here, flank there. It's like, oh god, what do we do? And well, at that point it's already a 1v4.
Yeah, this definitely gives me some concerns to see as the defending team. Obviously when you're on attack, this problem is just going to be compounded so much more, because when you're on defense, you have all this potential to roam, to go aggressive, to go passive. Really, you almost dictate the flow of the game when you're on defense, and when you're on attack, you have to approach this based on how the defenders have set up the site. So to have members of Nocturnal not being able to react almost to Elevate's aggression is a little bit concerning. But as it is, this time Sav and Serenity don't actually have a successful roam. They're both quite tagged from the bullets, and they've both been effectively droned out and almost forced back.
Yeah, well, they would quite thoroughly actually force back from the top floor, and well, right now they still can have some presence up on the ground floor where they could actually match with maybe Cortari and see how that will really go around, but there is no general knowledge about the whereabouts of the roamers. So right now for Elevate, this just means that they might need to start getting some of the droning done, but just hold your breath on that one, because Serenity just went down to a very nice shot from Chloe. But there's still Seth on the roam, which could certainly, could have thrown in a spanner in the works of Elevate, pardon. And well, that didn't really happen. Aussie Princess already takes quite some damage as well from not particularly too sure whereabouts. I'm assuming maybe a pre-fire from down below, but apart from that, yeah, this is looking like Elevate are well and truly in control of the frags at the very least.
Yeah, and I feel like that was a little bit of a miscommunication. You definitely knew someone was going to be outside the main lobby. It would only make logical sense for them to either be repelled on the windows, and if you don't hear it, then it's possibly going to be a main lobby push. So to be standing out in the open like that, sure, maybe you were expecting it, but to be standing out in the open like that is still going to be the wrong play, especially if your team has been losing in terms of gunfights. You really don't want to be adding to that problem. But they did almost have a successful game because it is 18 seconds left. Sure, it's a 5v2, but they still have to attack the site. Oh no, these things are not looking good. Cortari is on site, manages to take down Crescent. Aussie Princess is the only remaining survivor, takes down Cortari, but she still has 4 more members to contend with. And Budo is planting the bomb, and it is going to be Lola, finishing off Aussie Princess.
4-round streak so far for nearly calling him Elemental. LPL Pro still is well and truly stuck in my head. Elevate, doing some phenomenal work and being able to, this time this is a much more dominant performance from them, whereas previous 3 rounds it felt like it was kind of more so of just both of the teams trying to poke at each other, trying to figure out what essentially to do.
Yeah.
Whereas here it was well and truly Elevate's round to take. They managed to find those 2 frags onto the Romas really nicely, really quickly. And from there on, it was kind of just, well, almost kind of expected for them to win that round. Although Nocturnal had a few good attempts, but the fact that they got outed from the top floor pretty quickly pretty much put them into quite a disadvantage.
Yeah, I feel like for Nocturnal to really take this back, you know, they probably need to do something different, because at the rate in which their setups go, it's a very standard setup that you would see for both of these sites, you know, the top floor and the bottom floor that they've taken Elevate to. And it feels like Elevate definitely has the practice under their belt to go against that. You know, they see how Nocturnal is set up and they go, alright, we're going to do this. You're going to go here, you're going to go here, we've practiced this, and we're going to do exactly what we, you know, pre-discussed. And they just carry that out with almost no hesitation. You know, you see the Jaeger ADSs being burnt, and then you see, you know, people rappelling up, and it's just possibly a vertical play down below. Sometimes Sav gets lucky with an excellent roam, but surely the same roam doesn't work 3 times in a row when she goes through Visa. Surely this time there'll be at least some flank drone, maybe a Nomad air jab down there. So, I don't know, things are looking a bit rough for Nocturnal at this point.
Yeah, certainly a bit of a feels bad moment there for Nocturnal. Elevate do also figure out that there's no more of the ADSs anymore on the exit stairs, so for AG Tiger right now that means she will be having quite a fair bit of issues with dealing with some of the attackers, especially at the moment some more projectiles are going to be starting to fly in. Another thing to note as well, we do see Crescent in a bit of a unusual position, because the moment that window in the connector gets opened up and starts getting pre-fired, her walking area gets pretty much as minuscule as it can get. At the very least, she's able to get that refrag onto Cortari, but it seems that that's not a problem. Lola and Cortari just keep on pitching in, and at that point, well, it's all down to Sav and Serenity.
Yeah, I feel like the positions in which members of Nocturnal were playing were a little bit unnecessary. You know, you have that deployable shield right there. And I was going to say that's such a huge advantage, but no, it is Lola taking down Sav, Serenity taking down Lola, but Bluey being the final kill onto Serenity. This was such a clean round from Elevate. You know, it's definitely one of the faster acting rounds from Elevate. Their attack was a lot more polished out of all of the rest, and it just makes me all the more concerned for Nocturnal, because Elevate shows that they're adapting to how Nocturnal plays, to how Nocturnal holds, but it doesn't feel like Nocturnal's doing the same to Elevate.
Yeah, that's quite a huge point to really make as well. Yeah, it seems that the adaptation game from Elevate has stayed quite powerful and quite true ever since pretty much most of the since the season 2. And Butter, please no. But yeah, and it seems that Elevate just keeping up, and the fact that the current Elevate roster did introduce a few players from Kingswomen as well seem to have reinforced the roster even more so than before. Whereas for Nocturnal, maybe it's just not their day for them today. Maybe something else is amidst, because yeah, this is definitely a different performance from them comparative to what we saw from them during week 1 and 2.
Yeah, you know, I do want to point out that I definitely don't think it's because Nocturnal is lacking in terms of, you know, just raw siege ability. I feel like this comes down to maybe practice, maybe just familiarity with how to respond to different types of scenarios. Because, you know, we've seen Elevate when on attack, they show that they were able to, you know, attack the top side from the admin side. And just from the previous round as well, they show that they were able to execute a console office attack as well. So this shows a little bit of diversity from their attacks, and it keeps Nocturnal on their toes. Whereas Nocturnal really only had one setup for that entire console meeting hold. So hopefully, you know, taking them to the lobby site, having a little bit of verticality might throw Elevate off their game. Maybe they wouldn't be expecting it. Maybe they thought it was going to be another garage hold. So maybe this is the game. Maybe this is the map for Nocturnal.
Yeah, maybe. Well, so far it seems that Bluey, Kutara, and Lola are doing actually a pretty decent thing with clearing out bit by bit on the top floor. Because Serenity right now is in a bit of a pinned position. The moment there's going to be even just a call to pre-fire that table, and I believe the foot was nearly sticking through the thing, but oh no. Butter. What happened there? Hello. Serenity finds another one as well there to keep on solidifying on that scoreline. 3 versus 5 though. Now that is a huge start here for Nocturnal for potentially at the very least getting themselves a point here.
That was a good rotate out from Serenity. You know, if she had a Nitro Cell, maybe that would have been another kill under the belt for her. But as it is, it's just going to be impacts in her pocket. And Elevate is, for the first time, looking to be in a little bit of a tough spot. A little bit of wall penetration damage does go out on Serenity. Not enough to do any serious damage, but enough to make her rotate out a little bit into the admin office. She does know someone is repelled on that printer window, so it's all up to if she can get it. And Sav gets that kill onto Cortari and manages to down Bluey. Bluey can res herself, but there's no chance today for Bluey. And it is just going to be Chloe, the last member of Elevate. And what a tide changer this is.
Yeah, that is a very different round now. Finally, the moment it seems that we started roasting Nocturnal, they finally decided to make a big comeback. Chloe now finds a nice shot. That is the first opening. But now her position has been revealed even more so with a Banshee. Now there's another person that is going for the peak, but not for long. Oh, present. Oh, boy. Oh, Aussie Princess is going in now for an attempt to get the frag. And it seems that AG Tiger is getting quite keen on that play as well. The swing does come around. Chloe wins out another one gunfight. That's a triple kill already. Now it's a 2v1. Now this is much more winnable, but only 20 seconds remaining. Things are certainly not looking too favorable. Finds a quad kill. Can she find an ace to ramp it up? But no. AG Tiger shuts it all down. But my god, that was such a close one to win out for Elevate all of a sudden.
That was very, very close. And that was definitely a lot closer than what I think Nocturnal was definitely ready for. That was almost crazy. You know, she almost had a 1v5 clutch, and I believe that would have been the first time in Women's League that would have happened. Definitely, you know, hands off to her for even getting that 1v4. But, you know, as it is, end of the day, Nocturnal did get that one round and did manage to stop the momentum of Elevate, you know, getting those consecutive attacker wins.
Yeah, at the very least they were able to break that general pace of the of the games that were currently happening, but the damage has been already dealt, I feel. I mean, 5-1 scoreline, that's the scoreline that you would probably want more so to just try to avoid rather than, well, allow to happen, per se. Obviously, for Nocturnal, they would have wanted to make it into, say, a 3-3 scoreline or into 4-2 scoreline in their favor, but unfortunately, things didn't really work out there. But yeah, I certainly quite curious as to what happened. Maybe it was just a lack of preparation, lack of warm-up. Maybe we shall be seeing a whole different play now that we are in the second half, but I guess only time will tell us here.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb.
Yeah, it's interesting to see almost an identical lineup come out from Elevate. The only real difference is Lola isn't on the Melusi, rather she's on the Mozzie, which could be a little bit more useful than the Melusi, depending on how Nocturnal play into it. You know, a Melusi is great sound indicator, but against operators like the Sophia, you know, if you burn the Wamais, burn the ADSs, you can easily, you know, impact off the Melusi gadgets. But, you know, having those Mozzie pests is definitely going to be an annoyance because it does deny a little bit of intel gathering, and, you know, worst case, you lose a drone.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you don't get rid of that drone quickly enough, the Mozzie will be able to take full control of it and just drive it away and use it as also like almost like a mobile Valk camera.
Yeah, and seeing as Valkyrie's banned, you know, this is almost the next best thing.
Exactly. Well, the breaches are starting to happen now that Nocturnal are going to start to apply a bit of a similar pressure comparative to Elevate, but instead of using the hard breacher on opening up, it's just Serenity just bonking the wall, really. Butter rather, will be trying to go in for the swing onto the exit stairs, but oh, there's no mute jammer anymore, so the ace will be going in for the opening, but not for long because that got shot out, so maybe another one will be there. Yep, there we go. The Selma charge will, though, be there to be shot out, and that's a second one. Actually, pardon, make it a third one, as that one got shot out as well. So all of the opportunities for Nocturnal to get any breaches has been completely forfeited.
I feel like that was a little bit careless out from Nocturnal's side. You know, you either want to be having that angle cleared, first of all, or maybe, you know, as an ace, you do have smoke canisters in your pocket. Maybe you could throw one out, sort of hide the vision as much as you can so you can get at least one ace Selma charge off. But, you know, things aren't looking good for Nocturnal once again. Oh! Lola! That double kill was just nasty. You know, that almost a double one tap. That was, not good for Nocturnal, I can say that.
Oh, that is, yeah, they will be fuming after losing to that one. But that was a phenomenal site placement as well by Lola, so that definitely puts Elevate at quite a powerful position here now that it's all down to AJ Tiger, Serenity, and Crescent.
Buddha gets that kill onto Tiger as well. Speaking of Tiger, you know, she's not going to be in the play anymore, and it is just going to be Crescent and Serenity. It looks to be a little bit of a meeting push, but Buddha is there with that shotgun ready. Chloe snatches the kill away and manages to take down, Crescent manages to take down Buddha, but she has so many angles to cover and she's on so little amount of health, and it is going to be Kotari going up those Visa stairs in the flank to take down Crescent.
Well, a match point on 6-1 scoreline. Now, that is a scoreline that we've been seeing for a fair few times now, and I would say that I did not expect that kind of scoreline between these two teams, between the team that is currently on the first place and the second place, and for Elevate to show such a dominant performance now, that is quite a statement that they are going in with.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like whichever team has the Elevate tag is just out to win.
Yeah. It looks like just Elevate just seeming to I don't know what exactly got them motivated here, but it seems that it's been quite a hefty motivation overall to get themselves ramped up, because they are playing on almost the level of just, well, potentially being able to take some of the top end teams of LPL Pro, if not maybe even Oceanic Nationals, which now has me even more so curious about how would they perform given such an opportunity.
Yeah, I think, you know, this women's team of Elevate is definitely incredibly strong, and I'm curious to see how they would face up against, you know, teams where they don't have the advantage, or teams where maybe they don't have teammates but they recognize. Possibly this could be one of the factors that is fueling them on. You know, you definitely don't want to be losing to people that you call your friends, your teammates in the last season, because that would just be a little bit of a sucker punch, and you definitely want to, you know, shoot them in the head, give them a little one tap or two tap. It just feels good.
Yeah, I mean, especially for Lola after that previous round, that was quite something to witness as well. I'm quite glad I got lucky on finding that.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah. Well, as it's looking like this may be potentially the final round, Elevate going for a really interesting setup, I gotta say. That setup for the Ballistic Shield to watch over the bottom of the spiral stairs is certainly quite a setup that I'm not too sure whether it will be useful for later on, but we'll have to see, I suppose. As for now, it seems that Nocturnal are actually going for a pretty thorough sweep, but funnily enough, there's nobody actually to roam for Elevate, and instead it's going to be on the ground floor. That is going to be Lola.
Lola does have a few pesky punch holes put up on those yellow stairs, so any unsuspecting Nocturnal player, if that's not appropriately droned out, could catch one of Lola's bullets in their face. And if not, there is Buddha, who's also holding down the cross angle with Lola, so things aren't looking good. Bluey goes for a wide swing and gets Aussie Princess down to her first and finishes her off in a double pick. What a start for Elevate. This is what you want, and this is not what you want for Nocturnal, because that is also your Zofia player who's down and out.
Exactly. Sav as well, being quite far away from her teammates, is not the best outcome that she probably would have wanted, and the fact that Nocturnal are playing on a very kind of almost a solo player basis is seemingly to be quite unproductive, you could say, for the roster. Now, with the fact that Sav was able to deal just a little bit of a damage to Lola, that does force the Vigil player back onto the side. But now comes the question, how well can Nocturnal take the site? Because, yeah, they have the top floor and the ground floor, but the bottom floor is still well in control of Elevate, and I don't think they are planning to give it away anytime soon, really.
Yeah, and there's a drone right at Bluey's feet that manages to spot her out, so hopefully that is communicated amongst Nocturnal. Because of that, Bluey is forced to rotate out. I believe she's going for a Visa flank, which could take quite some time for her to reach Nocturnal. Serenity, playing that vertical, gets that little kill onto Chloe, and that's huge. You know, you take what you can get, but oh, Buddha from down below, C4 Serenity, and don't think she saw that one coming.
Yeah, not at all. I think that was probably the last thing that they would have expected, but time is about to run out. Bluey still keep on applying more pressure. Tiger just went down. Sav and Crescent are the last player standing. With Sav now gone, it's all down to Crescent to try to hold the hope for any kind of win, but it seems that it will be shut down pretty quickly. GG. Well played to come out from both of the teams as Elevate take yet another fantastic win, a 7-1.
Yeah, Elevate really asserting their dominance in this matchup tonight. You know, they really showed us almost perfect coordination with the team. They showed up really strong attack, just a strong defense. You know, I'm a little bit disappointed we didn't get to see as much of the defense as we could have. A little bit of R6 analyst coming up just to show up. But Chloe, you know, definitely the MVP of that entire matchup. 15 kills.
Yeah. Look, this is a huge performance here from Chloe. I mean, even for her during the first half, that was an absolutely smashing performance from herself. So, well played. Well played to Elevate as well. And, well, that does put us into an interesting situation where Nocturnal can... Well, they're theoretically being dropped down to the position number 2, and Elevate is now the new reigning kings and queens, well, I suppose, of the leaderboard. So they will be ensuring themselves a pretty solid position. For Nocturnal, well, now it's back on the grind, as now they would probably want to try to reclaim the points position for themselves, although that is going to be quite a... how should I say this? Quite a challenge, because with Elevate, it seems that not a whole lot of teams can really challenge them right now to the full degree.
Yeah, I feel like Nocturnal was definitely the closest, the best possible opponent to challenge Elevate and to, show such a huge difference in skill, from today's match. Maybe it wasn't Nocturnal's map, maybe it wasn't Nocturnal's day, so, only time can tell. And, I can say for certain that after losing like that, I don't think any member on Nocturnal is going to be happy. I don't think, they're going to just sit back and be like, all right, we didn't win. I guess we're just not good, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think the next time we see Nocturnal, they're going to be stronger than ever. They're definitely going to have looked over their VODs from today, and they're definitely going to have picked up on their mistakes and improved on that so that we see a different side of Nocturnal.
Yeah, well, plenty more practice to be done, as they will still get a little bit more time to practice before their next matchup. But for them, for that matchup, this is just about it. Now, we do have one more match to be prepped up, but we shall be taking a little bit of a break just to get everything set up for all the viewing pleasure for you all. So stay tuned. Don't go too far away. Maybe get some more drinks, maybe get some popcorn, as we shall be preparing the matchup number 2.
I think that you should come back home.
and all the places that you could take me. Why you so shy? You got me going wild. Cause I've been saying that you got it, baby, give it to me. See my lightning, you gonna feel my thunder. Show me how you do it, come on baby, say it louder. Got you on my mind now, let me see your style. I'm on my way tonight. Oh, yeah, yeah. Cause I think about you, you. Cause I think about what I think about you. I wanted to make you see that you were the one for me. But there was enough, cause you're up and down and then everything's the same. Baby, how do I make you listen? Don't wanna be through, cause I wanna be you, baby. You and me tonight. Don't need to behave, gonna take me away, baby. Do it one more time. And the thought of you drives me crazy. You don't need to worry, cause you know that you got me. Cause I think about you, you. Cause I think about what I think about you. Cause I think about you. Hey, cause I think about what I think about you. I feel you on the edge of my life. Driving a perfect wedge straight into my mind. Come out from under all these indecisions. Oh, make room for somebody else. Circling the edge, way up high. Don't know if I'll ever have a useful alibi. Gone too far to stop. Yeah, I tried. Flying, crashing, looking for a perfect suicide. Circling the drinking and smoking yourself. Don't even wanna try. Make room for somebody else. Oh, I just wanna hide out from under all these indecisions. Oh, make room for somebody else. Circling the edge, way up high. Don't know if I'll ever have a
Siege. Yeah, I've heard of it, and I am the GOAT. When I'm attacking, no room is safe. Doors. Yeah, I think I remember them. Before I discovered Windows, the thinking man's door. I've come up with something I like to call a spawn kill. You've probably never heard of it. Because when I'm in defence, nobody gets in my bank. Teammates, droning. Listen, I've got all of the intelligence I need right here. My only team is me, my gun, and my skills.
Alrighty, everyone, welcome back. We just seen a fantastic performance by Elevate against Nocturnal when they came out 7-1 scoreline. Well, before we get into the matchup number one, quick reminder as well, we are running the charity donations for the Cancer Council. That is the Pickingtober. Tonight is the final broadcast before we close it out. Then it's currently, all the donations are open until October 31st. We are aiming around maybe 3,000. Well, donation link is on your screens to help us reach the goal for that, or at least get close to that. Well, with the formalities out of the way, let's have a look at the updated scorelines, because while Elevate had a pretty dominant performance for themselves, I do believe that the scoreline between, I believe that is Shadownet versus Barry's Bees, is quite a closer one as well. We just might be seeing it in a second. There we go. 7-4 is the scoreline between these two teams, and that's the scoreline that we probably didn't really expect. As a matter of fact, I personally would have thought that the 7-4 scoreline would have been between Nocturnal and Elevate rather than between Shadownet and Barry's Bees.
Yeah, I think I think we were all thrown a little bit off whack by how one-sided the Nocturnal versus Elevate game was. I definitely expected it to maybe not reach an overtime, but at least go up to like a 7-4 or a 5-7 or something like that. Something that seen a few more rounds out of both teams. But as it is, Elevate did show us an extremely dominant side, and if this is how you want to be starting off the tournament with a blast, they definitely did it.
Oh yeah, they sure did. Well, here we go. We do have one more matchup on our hands. That is going to be 71st against King's Women. The two teams that so far had a pretty interesting setup for themselves. Unfortunately for King's Women, it was a little bit of a rough ride overall, but apart from that, really, 71st have been performing for themselves pretty well, solidifying themselves in the third place. and well, maybe they shall be continuing their streak here with the points.
Yeah, I think 71st, contrary to their performance in Season 2, they definitely had started this season off with an extremely strong start. And, we've seen a lot of interesting players come out from them. We've seen a lot of, new strategies and just overall better gunfights coming out of them, which just really shows how much effort and how much work that they've put into themselves and the team to move to such a level so quickly, as a matter of fact.
Definitely. Now let's take a bit of a closer look at both of these rosters. I do believe the first one coming up is going to be 71st. There it is. Weasel, Zero Prince, Meeps, Textoff, Daddy Matty, and Fakers will be coming around. And probably the biggest highlight player, or rather two of them, are Zero Prince and Textoff. Those two girls have been popping off on a fair few occasions.
Yeah, those two players have definitely had their moments in the glory, as you might say. They definitely had some impactful kills, and overall, they've definitely been a reason as to why 71st have clutched a few rounds of this.
Definitely, yeah. Meeps as well has been following around with some really good performances as well, so not to exclude her from the whole party, but let's take a look at their challenges for tonight. That is going to be King's Women. The roster that returned, well, rather a name that returned from Season 2, but we've seen quite a few changes to the lineup as well.
Yeah, that roster is going to be Corvice, Angry Wolf, Brunette, Burner Bear, Shiv Bond, and Mardina as their sub. So, some of these names are extremely familiar. Corvice was also the captain of Kingswomen in Season 2. But, the rest of these members, apart from Burner Bear, who was also on the team as well, but the rest of these members are familiar names, but not familiar in terms of Kingswomen. So, once again, I do want to see if they possibly have the synergy, the coordination, because if a team like Elevate, the Season 3 Elevate, they've definitely showed us that a team mashed together of different players of high caliber can still perform together quite well. So I'd like to see the similar performance being replicated in Kingswomen.
Yeah. Curious if they will be able to finally rise up from a bit of a rough beginning in the season. And this is going to be, well, they're one of the better chances here. But let's have a look also at the map that we shall be seeing both of these teams play out. Here's the map band coming around, and it is going to be Coastline. Quite a change of pace comparative to the Consulate, where Coastline might be feeling a little bit more linear, a little bit more frag heavy. Well, although Elevate did kind of turn Consulate more so into a bit of a frag fest closer to the end of the match. But yeah, Coastline I definitely think should be a pretty interesting one, just because for both of these teams it will be quite a test to their ability to perform here under all of the fragging pressure, I suppose.
Yeah, if you were to compare Coastline to some of the more standard maps like Clubhouse, like Oregon, which are, I will admit, a lot more team-orientated maps, they do require a little bit more coordination, whether you're on defense or attack, with the usage of your gadgets and your team positioning in general. Coastline is a little bit more forgiving in terms of that, where you don't need that, the verticality clear, you don't need as much gadgets as possible. But where it lacks in that, it really does make up for what you said, the fragging potential. Because how Coastline really shines is just how well you can get the kills. And if you can get the kills, then, well, that's the map guaranteed, right?
Exactly. Well, ours do come out from the teams. Before we jump straight into the match, let's have a look at the sunny coast of Ibiza. That is the Coastline. As, I'm quite keen to get into this game because it's certainly promising to be maybe a very saucy one, gotta say.
Yeah, I think it might be a little bit closer than the first match we've seen today, but can't say for certain yet, so have to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely. Well, ban phase is beginning already, and any kind of thoughts about the bans as to what we may be seeing here?
Well, that was a very quick and decisive ban coming out from 71st. Quick, yeah. And it is going to be Thatcher. What a surprise. Okay.
Yeah, not a whole lot of surprise there. Definitely, Thatcher is certainly quite a powerful one. No matter what, second ban does come out pretty quickly, and that is, funnily enough, going to be Hibana, so most of the breaching could be done well, up close unless you do bring out the ace. He's currently on the board for that, and well and truly allowed to play, I believe.
Yeah, I feel like these Habana ban is a little bit surprising, seeing as coming out of Kingswoman, we have seen a lot more, Jackal bans. They have banned Thatcher a few times in the past, possibly another hard breacher that isn't Habana. But again, this is Coastline where, gadgets, especially hard breaching gadgets, aren't essential. I have seen teams go on attack with no hard breaches and they've still managed to do just fine. So it's not super impactful.
Yeah, not a whole lot, but yeah. I'm curious though as about the Valkyrie ban, if that is going to make a whole lot of changes there. Well, for now, we shall be seeing Coastline come around to the play, and well, it's going to be Hookah Lounge and Billiards that will be decided to be brought upon. Curious if that is going to be the beginning, a good beginning for 71st, or rather will Kingswomen bring out some of the rather more interesting strats for ourselves, given that they just swapped around between the oh god, I'm blanking out. Gridlock to Nomad. There we go. That took me way too long to remember.
I think, either Gridlock or Nomad, they're both extremely sound choices, and I've seen them both being picked onto Coastline. Coastline, again, why flank denial is so important is because, especially if you're trying to gain control of the top floor, I know the objective is on the top floor in this case, but let's just say maybe, Kingswomen were preparing just in case for a surprise kitchen hold or something like that, to be able to deny, those white stairs that we have on camera as well as the Cool Vibe stairs. Those are the only two entrances to the top floor that you can possibly gain on this entire map. So if you have air jabs, if you have gridlock spikes on those stairs, that's really all you need to get that audio cue before the defenders roam up.
Yeah, certainly it's bringing either one of these two operators is a huge thing, and I'll definitely have to fully agree with you. They are quite a powerful asset here. Now, I'm curious about that choice of a Maverick, though, for Corvise, because usually, well, with the fact that Ace is present, I would be expecting, if you want to get some of those breaches going, I would be expecting the Danish operator to rather come around rather than Maverick, and for Maverick, he will need to be very up close and personal with some of these barricades before he can do any breaching, and even then, I'm not thinking we might be seeing any breaches on the bar wall, so I'm assuming maybe just frag grenades is the reason.
I'm going to be honest with you, Cthulhu. If Corvise repels and manages to take down those the bar walls, I will applaud her. Just for the sheer audacity of it, I will applaud her to the end of this map, because I can promise you I do not have the balls for that. That is terrifying.
Yeah, probably having the audacity is going to be the best way to describe it.
I don't care if she dies. I genuinely don't care what happens. I just want to see her do it.
Well, it doesn't look like right now that Corvise is planning really to go in for any peaks. Instead, it's Meebs just opens up the scoreline on what I'm guessing is the luggage window, and actually could be going in for another peak. Goes in for a swing, deals quite some damage to Mardin as well, but to no avail, or rather to no frag just yet.
Yeah, and this is why it's really important to be able to drone out the objective surely and securely, because Zero Prince was definitely not droned down and manages to take down Mardina, who goes in for a really wide swing. Corvise also gets downed outside, and it is going to be Daddy Mighty trading off that kill as well.
Yeah, well, Angry Wolf currently being slightly further away from her teammate that is Brunek is going to be a little bit of a slowdown in the play here, but at the very least now she knows that they're only going to be a single person. AK-12 does tag up the mute player just a little bit, but to no avail, unfortunately won't be able to secure a kill. Daddy Matty is there to keep her position.
That default camera in Aquarium is still up, and the diffuser is dropped outside the balcony, which means that to rotate to get that diffuser, you really need to be able to take down Daddy Mighty, or you just have to go for a full rotate around the entire objective. She is Ying though, so she is able to blind out members of members of 71st. She does manage to get that blind off, and it is Brunette going to be going into a 1v3 now.
5 seconds left.
Yeah, goes in for 1v3, but unfortunately a little bit too much for her to deal with. Meeps is the first one to actually catch her off guard on rotation, and well, there we go. 71st, a very dominant performance there, with barely even allowing Kingswomen to make an entry onto the site, or rather into the building for that matter. Pardon me.
I just want to quickly point out, no shade to either team. I have the highest respect for both teams. But I do want to point out that there is a difference instantly from this game to the Nocturnal Elevate game, where I noticed a weakness per se in their setup, where their entire hooker site, all the walls in it were actually soft. A lot of the times you do actually get reinforced walls in those in that hooker site, just so if someone wants to hold that vase or the top cool vibes, they do have a little bit of protection. And to not have those reinforced walls means that all those walls are soft, so you can get pre-fire, you can get blind fire, you can get it opened up, all these angles get, it's just not a fight that you want to be taking. So I definitely expected Kingswomen to go for that, to spot out the weakness in their setup and to do what Elevate did to Nocturnal and go, all right, all your defense is centered around the aquarium side, so we're just gonna go around it. We're just gonna go to the other side. But instead, I feel like Kingswomen took on that challenge directly, and they were like, okay, you're holding this, we'll attack that, and we'll do it. And in this case, it wasn't as effective. Kingswomen weren't able to get that attack off. They didn't have the appropriate flank drones to cover their blind spots, to cover their windows, and because of that, they got punished pretty hard.
Yeah, well, it seems that was the case. I'm also quite curious about the decision of 71st to be almost extra aggressive about their approach, because the way how they held even the Aqua place, that was quite unusual to say the very least. The sheer amount of pressure that they kept on putting right from the get-go was quite surprising, probably would be the best way to describe it, or rather unexpected. But maybe Meeps will keep up her evil deeds here as she is running around the hooker, billiards, and the aquarium side. See if maybe she can find the kill onto Mardina, but it seems that the Nomad player of KGW had decided to opt out of trying to go in for the push onto the second floor, and instead this is going to be a push from the master bedroom, which is not a bad idea. Just jump on straight onto the position that you want to take rather than attempting to clear out the whole floor.
Yeah, the correct course of action to take on this kitchen bomb site is you definitely need to secure top floor presence. And once you do, you can have the air jabs down onto the only places that the defenders can roam up, which are the 2 stairs available in this map. And Corvice with an excellent opening pick onto Zero Prince. Not the kill I was expecting. I was definitely expecting Meeps to get taken down first, but regardless, it's still an excellent pick, and hopefully, Meeps falls down sooner so that Kingswomen can really cement their advantage right now.
Well, she's about to run into 2 players of KGW. Tries to get into a gunfight with Angry Wolf, but the AK-12 is a little bit more powerful than the 9mm caliber MP5, and
just
that is full control of the top floor. Just a little bit, yeah. only just a few more sizes up and a little bit more firepower there. But alas, 3v5. Now that is definitely a setup that Kingswomen would have probably been expecting from the get-go on round number 1. So now this is their time for the revenge, I suppose, as Corvice is still running Maverick, which is, again, a little bit of a questionable moment for me as to, well, rather more so utility-wise.
It could also just be a comfort pick, the Maverick's gun is unique to Maverick, and he does have frag grenades, which does make him still an impactful operator if he doesn't choose to, or if she doesn't choose to use her, blowtorch. So overall, not the worst operator choice.
Yeah, Weasel meanwhile does get tagged up quite a little bit during all of the pre-fires, but it's Daddy Matty, surprisingly, that is trying to hold off the whole onslaught of Kingswomen. Bernabelle will be picked back up, as she was one of the higher fragging players previously. Mardina, no, that is not what you want right now as well. That is a TK straight onto the dome piece of Corvice. So the Candelas do come out. That is already 1 kill. That is the diffuser already dropped as well. Time is running low, 7 seconds. The diffuser needs to be picked up and deployed as well. Gas grenade is there, but oh no, this is about to run out of time, and oh, ticked off. Able to clutch it out, my goodness. 71st being on the brink of losing that round, but still able to just yoink it away from Kingswomen's hands.
That was such an excellent clutch from TikTok. You know, her smoke canister was right on the bomb as well, which meant that Bernabet, out of all of the people on Kingswomen to go for the bomb, it was Bernabet who was already downed once before, so she was on just a tiny sliver of help. And to go for that run to try and get that bomb down in the middle of the smoke canister, yeah, I can name a few things that could happen, but that is definitely a thing that will not be happening.
Yeah, well, maybe another chance will be granted there. Blue Bar and Sunrise will be the next pick of the defense for 71st, and so far pretty confident set of plays, really, apart from maybe the conclusion of the round number 2, which did hinge on TikTok to just stay alive and try to disrupt as much as possible, which he did pretty much flawlessly. Here for Blue Bar and Sunrise, I feel if it does come down to a 1v3 situation, I don't think a clutch will be workable there. Or rather, it will be a much harder thing to pull off compared to the kitchen and supply room hold. So the setup that we are seeing though from 71st does introduce quite a fair bit of info gathering as well, given that the micro cameras should keep a nice overwatch around the Sunrise at the very least. I'm not too sure whereabouts is the second camera, or whether it was placed, so maybe later on we shall see it, because I cannot spot it from the top-down view. But alas, setup is pretty good from 71st. We do have 2 players roaming up on the top floor, and it's Meeps back again onto the Jaeger.
I have a little bit of concerns about Kingswomen operator lineup just from the get-go. They seem to not like to pick operators with breaching charges or any form of explosives, apart from Corvice on the Maverick with those grenades. Maybe that's why Corvice is on Maverick after all. But especially for Coastline, where the majority of the floors and the majority of the ceilings are actually soft, you really want to be taking in maybe a buck, a sledge, breaches, like soft breaches. It's definitely something that you want to be considering if you're going on this map.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. You know exactly what I'm talking about as well. It's that oh boy. TikTok is completely clueless about the fact that there is a drone that is just about to stare at her. Oh, she gets on the camera again. Oh, okay. Maybe she knows. Maybe she goes in for the swing. She does actually find that frag. That is amusing to me. The fact that she was able to actually survive that. But because if Bernabet actually just pushed up, that would have been it.
It's actually surprising how the drone actually led to her own death, when in actual fact it should be the drone that leads to your kill.
Yeah. But now it seems that TikTok is the only person that is copping quite some action, and funnily enough, Brunek does not want to emphasize of her own Candelas. Already one of them has been used up, and now there is some reinforcements as well. Meeps is there to go in for an attempt at swing, and another Candela is there, and another magnet charge is going to be there attempting to prevent, well, yet another Candela to explode. So there we go. Quite unfortunate one, although Meeps does get blinded, and TikTok just gets a pre-fire fantastic one through the smoke as well.
Yeah, I feel like normally, you definitely shouldn't be peeking straight into a Ying Candela or a Ying Smoke, because I feel like the attackers would definitely have the advantage in this case. But I feel like just TikTok is just on such a roll right now. She's definitely shown that she can land these shots, and with Meeps as a backup, and all of Kingswomen just funneling into that security room. No, you've already lost 2 of your members to this. Don't be the third Angry Wolf.
Oh, finally Angry Wolf does manage to find some return on, well, no more return though anymore, as Meeps just gets herself a nice triple kill. But oh my, that is a nasty play between Meeps and TikTok, because they were the only ones from the 71st roster that saw some action there. But a third round in a row to win off such a very interesting, I suppose, concept of pushing from the attack of Kingswomen does lead us into that kind of scoreline. And yeah, Meeps, behave yourself, please.
Manners.
Get some help.
No, I feel like Kingswomen had the right idea in that case. They definitely knew that there were members of 71st in that room, but to funnel through that security hallway it's almost suicide. You don't want to be crowding 5 members of your team into that, because, you know, if you've seen that last second footage of that round, it was a complete carnage in that room. It's just dead bodies on top of dead bodies. And, you know, when it doesn't work the first 2 times, you want to be taking some alternate angles, you know, maybe opening up the doors, maybe going in from above, maybe using a soft breach to pressure the defenders from above. You just anything apart from funneling into that small chokeway. You don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, that's probably the last thing that really 71st, rather, Kingswomen do want to do, and maybe a few
5 seconds remaining.
decisions to maybe change the flow of where they want to apply the pressure, even with the fact that maybe if the diffuser has been dropped, well, certainly should be needed to be put in place. But either way, a new round, maybe a fresh round, fresh roster performance, maybe we'll have to see. Because also another note to really put out as well, the fact that KGW do play with a sub as well. Mardina did come around into play, as I'm imagining certain IRL the commitments have prevented from the 5th core player to come around to play, but alas, still, Kingswomen did have a few good performances, namely the round 2, but round 3 and 1 definitely were just more so for just funnel as many bodies as possible and then try to get frags, essentially.
Yeah, and going for this aqua take, you know, with all the amount of projectiles that Kingswoman that you want to be taking, you know, you want to be flushing out Daddy Maddie, forcing her away, getting that aqua side control, which is going to be a lot more convenient towards your attack, and they are managing to do that a lot faster than what they did the first time. Bear going for a trade onto Zero Prince. She does get down for her efforts, but she manages to take down Zero Prince. Daddy Maddie is ready for that refrag. Oh, Daddy Maddie with that headshot onto Angry Wolf, and there is still a down teammate, but Meeps manages to clean Bear up. There still is Mardina outside, in which Meeps, you know, using those really sharp eyes that she's got, manages to finish Mardina off with a little pistol kill. And they also have Diffuser guaranteed outside that aqua belt.
And there we go. Very nicely done by Meeps and Daddy Maddie to try to, well, to force the opposition to essentially get back on the back foot at this point, because right now Corvise and Brunek are very much far away from that diffuser. They will potentially attempt to maybe go towards the balcony once again and try to retrieve the diffuser, but at that point, again, a whole lot of damage has been done. The diffuser is very much in an open position, and Meeps is now back to watching that position, and the moment that cross will be attempted, that could be it. Although Corvise does take control of the Hoka site, so there's that. So an opportunity for a flank could be well in place, although and very concentrated Weasel is there and ready to smoke things out, whilst Meeps already finds an off-screen kill onto Brunek, and now it's all down to Corvise. Her position has been already revealed. She just about to go in for a swing onto the smoke, does see the elbow, but needs to frag out, but both of the frag grenades have been already extinguished.
She does know where she is, and she does actually get that headshot onto Weasel, but she's taking so much damage in that smoke, and that smoke does impair her vision slightly as well, because it is going to be Daddy Maddie with another headshot onto Corvise to clean up that round.
Well, 71st. Once again on a roll, trying to pretty much just show off just about a similar performance to what Elevate seemed to have done to Nocturnal, because right now they're on a 4-round streak, potentially could be at this pace scoring themselves the 5th point, but last time we saw them on defense for kitchen and service entrance, it was a little bit of a shaky one, so this might be the opportunity for Kingswomen to finally break the streak, break the loss curse, and start finding themselves those points as quickly as possible.
I think with Kingswomen going on to that Jackal, you know, I seen them on Jackal the previous round, but I especially think for this kitchen site, a Jackal is just going to be so much more impactful, because as we said, you know, Coastline is all about that fragging power, and to frag effectively on defense, you either have to swing aggressively or you go for a roam. In which case, Jackal is the perfect operator to counter that idea, because, you know, one scan and he'll be able to see how recent your footprints were and how far away you are. And to be able to guarantee that top 4 securance, Jackal also has a shotgun secondary, in which, you know, I know I was talking a little bit about how Kingswomen need to bring some form of soft breaching. Well, that's Jackal.
Yeah, I'm still very curious as to... Well, you did mention that Corvise's pick is more so of a comfort one, but say for utility purposes as well, if you do want to bring some of the, like a good weapon plus frag grenades, and to also bring in some of the hard breaching, or rather, sorry, soft breaching, Sledge is a fantastic alternative to that.
Yeah.
Man has an amazing secondary, amazing primary, frag grenades, and the ability to pull off a very stable and a good amount of soft breaching before extinguishing the utility. So, yeah, a few maybe additions to Corvise's comfort picks maybe would be advised here, but apart from that, really, for KGW, they just need to nail their shots and not allow either Zero Prince or Meeps or Ticked Off really pull out any kind of surprising frags, I suppose. That would be the way to really call it.
Yeah, you definitely want to be careful about how your drones are approaching the situation. I believe Zero Prince is droned out. A little bit of warbang does come through, but none of the shots do connect except Zero Prince. Her shots on Corvise. Oh no, Angry Wolf does manage to finish off Zero Prince, but at what cost?
Yeah, Meeps already scoring herself a double kill as well. Meanwhile, about to get into a gunfight with the Ash, but finally Bernabe is able to trade things out. Angry Wolves already on a half health, and Bernabe being the only person out of the two remaining on the full health is definitely going to be the only person that will need to be spearheading things for herself. Daddy Matty, Weasel, and Ticked Off are still very much well and alive, still got plenty of utility, and the worst part here for Kingswomen is the fact that all of those gunfights happen just too far away from the site, so they still need to go through all the utility drain if they do want to have a very comfortable breach. Although, that said, this very wall is open for the breaching, and Angry Wolf knows, well, should know that, and at the very least attempt to go in for the breach to force out the position of Ticked Off, which could be a very powerful one to really play around.
Yeah, to open up into that service area would definitely force Ticked Off. Yeah. So it sounded better in my head. There are no anti-war gadgets in play either. You know, there's no mute. There's only a smoke available. Bernabe does go for a shot onto Daddy Matty, and it is going to be Daddy Matty who comes out on top. Both members of Kingswomen are so low. You don't see an attempt coming out of Angry Wolf to open up that wall. So Ticked Off is still going to be playing in that service area, you know, throwing out those smoke canisters for free. And Angry Wolf doesn't seem to be in a good position at this point.
15 seconds left.
Not at all. So many crossfires for her to hit, and right now, smoking herself out is probably the last thing that she needs to do. Daddy Matty is about to be swung upon, but nicely done. That's a frag at the very least to get a little bit of a stat padding there, but apart from that, nothing does come out of that round. That's 5th round in a row taken by 71st, as they're only 2 rounds away from victory and pushing themselves up on the leaderboard.
Yeah, you know, I know I said that Coastline isn't all about the gadgets and it is all about the fragging, but in that case, I definitely think an appropriate use of your gadget, especially if you're going for an ace and there's just a free hard wall in front of you and you still have 3 of your Selma charges as well, you definitely want to be going for that. You know, you don't want to be going, oh, I'll just go around it, you know, I won't open it. Because sure, you might be alerting the defenders to your position, but I mean, I'm 99% sure that 71st knew that they were already there with the amount of noise that they were making. So to open up those cross angles, maybe to have a few drones in play, because I did notice that Bernabe still had a drone in her pocket when she peeked Daddy Matty. So to, you know, use your utility a little bit more effectively could definitely change how Kingswoman is playing.
Yeah, well, we shall see how this final round will shape up, but yeah, I'll definitely have to agree with you. Certain changes to maybe the utility usage, or rather the approach to how do you go about using that utility certainly needs to be done, because Kingswomen are certainly feeling like they are a little bit on the back foot here and just being kind of denied any opportunity for a gunfight, whereas they could have made things a whole lot easier if they would have gone for a few breaches, but also not to always continuously harp on Kings Women. 71st has been doing a phenomenal job at just continuously punishing Kings Women on some of the smaller mistakes, and gotta give big props to Meeps as well, namely. She was absolutely nuts on some of those peaks. I mean, already sitting on a 10-2, and that is one way to really flex the scoreline.
Yeah, that's definitely one way to say, hey guys, you know, I'm here and you guys have to pay attention to me.
Exactly, yeah. The fact that right now for Kings Women, one of their main objectives could be to just get rid of Meeps and then start really going for some of the further pushes is certainly it's on the board. So it's more so just what do they do about that situation with the fact how good right now Meeps is performing. Because last time we did see them try to take certain position by the numbers, the Meeps and TikTok were able to just completely shut that down.
Corvi's bringing in the Lion this time, and this is something that I like to see, you know, going off on that Maverick pick, having those live pings come out, really denying how much 71st can move around. And we can see Bernabeu going for such an offensive roam right now. Hopefully, you know, this manages to cut off the 71st members, and to be able to secure that top floor like they did in the previous rounds is going to be huge for Kings Women. Live pings do come out, and it is going to be Bernabeu getting that headshot onto Meeps. Can she get that double kill? Yes, she can, and this is what Kings Women need.
Indeed, and with that, now most of the roam is being completely shut down from 71st. Now, it's only the 3 players downstairs, and for Kings Women, this is a fantastic opportunity to start now applying pressure from up above. Namely, I would have to say Brunek, she can plant her Candela charges from up above and try to flush out some of the defenders from their position, but it seems that Daddy Maddie has some other plans for that very case, as she does quite promptly get rid of Bernabeu. So now it's down to Brunek, Mardina, Angry Wolf, and Corvise to try to go in for the pushes. They still have a player advantage.
Yeah, Brunek could definitely go for a plant somewhere under the hatch in Sunrise if members of Kings Women manage to take maybe Sorter control, maybe flush Weasel out from where she is playing, because she still does have 3 smoke canisters. Of course, if Kings Women want to go for another point to attack, that's still completely open. There is still 30 seconds left on the board. A Lion EDD scanner does come out, and Angry Wolf is holding down that long angle.
Yeah, now Kova is returning to probably the biggest PTSD grounds, decides to drone out the whole of office and won't be seeing anyone make a return, but instead TikTok might actually make a return here to the office. 15 seconds remaining, the push needs to happen. Already the gunfight does erupt and outside of office, and that is the victory for TikTok. Brunek does go down as well. Mardina is the next person to go in for the gunfight, but does fall as well. Angry Wolf is the last person standing, and even she cannot do anything. That is a flawless first half for 71st to grab.
Yeah, things definitely started off really well for Kings Women that round, and I definitely thought Kings Women were going to have a chance, and you know, it was going to be like a little bit of a nocturnal elevate repeat where the side swapping would come over, you know, at a 5-1, but 71st and their defense was just so solid. You know, the members that were anchoring, just they didn't seem phased. They were like, you know, sure, you guys might have a numbers advantage, but we're going to sit still, we're going to stay calm, and we're just going to gun you guys down.
It seemed that whenever Kings Women were trying to go in for the peak downstairs, they were either overextending on some of the swings or overexposing themselves, and that is probably the main issue that they kept on running into. Say Brunek, if she had, say, an ACOG, she could have gone for a few pixel peaks, and it would have easily been able to shut down Daddy Maddie, who was just peeking out with her head from behind the bar table. So a few things could have been done there, but unfortunately didn't really happen. So here on the kitchen defense, they might have a better ground to really play around now that they kind of get to potentially play a little bit more passively and just wait essentially for 71st to bring in that aggression and play off that. But even then, the Kings Women's squad does not have any more of the chances really to make a mistake. One more round lost, and that is, well, the whole match done and dusted.
Yeah, at the very least, you definitely want to even out the scoreboard a little, maybe push it to a 7-2, maybe a 7-3 if you're playing well. But as it is, we just focus on one round at a time. For 71st to go for this attack, I already approve of their operator lineup. I seen some soft breaching charges, and I was like, You know, they got this. They understand. They know what's up. And especially for a kitchen site, that's perfect.
Yeah, interestingly enough, actually, Meeps has already... Wait, I didn't remember that they kept the ACOG on the M249 saw, but I got sidetracked. Meeps actually is already just about prepping to actually start throwing in some of the utility. There is a Jaeger device and a Mine device as well to start potentially draining out some of the utility. The cool thing is, though, theoretically, Meeps only needs to throw out one of the track stingers first, then the 2 smoke grenades, and then she'll be pretty much in the golden and should be able to have pretty much the whole of this small entrance for herself to go in for the plant whenever that does happen. Although instead does prompt to go in for the swing up on the top floor, and it's Bernabear to actually open up the scoreline off screen, but gets refragged pretty quickly by Zero Prince.
Yeah, that was still overall, I'd say that was a win in Kings Women's books. You know, to go for an early trade like that is definitely going to be an advantage. But Meeps, you know, with that saw is going to be shutting down Angry Wolf, I believe. Yes, Angry Wolf.
Correct, yeah. Weasel now will be also going in for the opening, as there is some presence, well, in the supply room. No presence in the main lobby, nor there is any in the toilet. And right now already, it seems that the track stingers are starting to come out, although only in this area, just to cut off maybe a few flanks, because now the main vertical game is starting to come out, and Zero Prince is very much ready to throw down some grenades as well.
Yeah, Zero Prince is going for the right idea. You know, you definitely want to be going for the verticals, and from where you play above, you can definitely shut out a lot of the positions that Kingsman is playing. Namely, where Corvice is sitting in a very common spot where, you know, you would have a rotate in between sites, possibly above Brunek as well, if they do have the droning, if they do have the intel. You know, you already see some warning holes being opened up above. Nothing that actually connects, but all of this surface is actually soft, so if I was members of Kingsman, I would be pretty stressed right now.
You know, Zero Prince already decides to walk in with her hologram to try to get some information about the general whereabouts of Brunek, and Family Well does confirm that there is some presence behind the shield that gets shut down pretty quickly. Weasel is already starting to go for the plan, and now it's Corvice's turn to go in for the push. Oh, the shotgun does come out, actually gets the double kill as well. It's a 2v2, make it 2v1, 6 seconds remaining. The kill onto Mardina needs to come around, but the plant is going to start going down. Meeps is the last person stand to really cover Zero Prince, and Mardina now needs to go in very quickly for the swing. The plant has gone down, and there's the kill from Zero Prince to close out the round. A 7-0 stunning victory from 71st.
Yeah, 71st showed us what they're made out of. That was such a strong attack and such a strong defense as well that they showed us. And, you know, flawless victory coming out. Daddy Maddie being the MVP of the night. It's quite a performance.
Yeah, definitely. So big props to Daddy Maddie, big props to Meeps as well. Those two players probably one of the biggest highlights, as well as that TikTok was able to shine for a couple of rounds as well. But for Kings Women, quite an unfortunate turnout, no matter how much Bernabear was doing her best to really come out victorious. But alas, that is all that she wrote here. 7-0 scoreline. 71st is definitely flexing the ability to also come around and show some fantastic gameplay. But curious, how will they really come around, and how will they perform whenever they will get to really battle it out against Elevate whenever the time comes?
Yeah, hopefully that game will be on stream, so, you know, we'll have plenty to talk about, and hopefully, you know, it'll be a close match considering how one-sided tonight's matches were. Not saying that it's a bad thing, you know, it's always fun to watch a little bit of a one-sided match to really show one team's dominance over another. There's always going to be a little bit of ego boost for that team as well. But, you know, as it is, losing is never going to be a negative thing. It's always just a great learning experience, especially from, you know, a tournament like the Women's League. It's all about learning, it's all about improving, and it's all about that community spirit where we just want to help each other get better.
Definitely. Yeah, this is still a fantastic opportunity for every player to really just learn how to approach certain situations, learn how what's it like to really play in some of the higher tier competitive matches, comparative to, say, even some of the ranked analogs as well. So, no, this is still all in all a learning experience for each and every player. But talking about the tonight's games, let's actually have a look at the updated scorelines for all of the games that so far unraveled. So a 7-1 scoreline between Nocturnal and Elevate for Elevate to take a very confident win, a 7-4 win for ShadowNet, and a 7-0 for 71st. Those were scorelines that we... Well, even the 7-0 between 71st and Kingswood, I don't think we really expected them. I personally would have thought that we would have seen a whole lot closer games tonight.
I definitely thought, for 71st versus Kingswood, I did have an idea that 71st would have an advantage coming into this, but I definitely didn't expect for them to have such a great advantage. Similarly, same thing with Nocturnal and Elevate. I definitely expected them to be quite evenly matched teams, and to see a gameplay that wasn't really reflecting that properly. It was a surprise, I will admit.
Yeah, definitely. And it does set up quite an interesting situation on the leaderboard as well, that I believe that does put Elevate on the first place, and I believe it might actually push 71st on the second place if I am correct, but I'm not too sure if we shall be getting a peek at the leaderboard as well, but alas, yeah, I'm still... So we shall be getting an update on the socials, but yeah. Apart from that, that does set us up for, well, just yet another very interesting ending for week 3, as that top 4 bracket is definitely shaping up to be very spicy nonetheless.
Yeah, only time can tell what the rest of the matches will be like, how 71st will be continuing to perform. Because at this rate, they're definitely the team that has done the most improvement. Teams like Elevate, teams like Nocturnal, they started off strong. They have strong players, and so they come in with the expectation that they're going to be performing well. Whereas 71st, after their performance in season 2, they're still a great team, but I don't think we expected such a strong start coming out for them, and to have them really perform like this really shows just how much they've improved. And so for me, I think I'm rooting for 71st at this point.
Yeah, curious how will they end up positioning themselves on a leaderboard, given that their performance so far has been absolutely stunning and phenomenal, comparative even to season 2. So definitely curious where kind of the end of the season will see them being placed. But from us, that is just about it. Now, really quickly, before we close out the show as well, a quick reminder that we are still running the Pink October charity for the Cancer Council as well. And as well as that, a huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors. That is ZQ Racing, Ubisoft Australia, Computer Alliance, Intel, Cooler Master, and Asus ROG or ROG as well. Thank you all so much. And thank you to our wonderful viewers as well for coming around, tuning in for yet another fantastic evening of Women's League. And well, we'll see you next Thursday. Take it easy. Stay safe. We'll see you later.
When you're walking on the moon, walking on the moon, taste your happy place. It will keep your groove. When you're dancing on the moon, dancing on the moon. When we dance again, all our trouble seems to fade away. This is how I feel. Take me to some levels that I've never been. When we dance again, all our trouble seems to fade away. This is how I feel. When you take me to some places that I've never been. When we dance again, that I've never been. That I've never been. Walking on the moon. When you're walking on the moon, walking on the moon. yeah.